Have you ever noticed how some couples who once seemed deeply in love gradually grow distant? The warmth, laughter, and connection that once defined their relationship seem to fade, replaced by frustration, irritation, and in some cases, even resentment. Many women find themselves in this situation as they age, questioning how their marriages turned into something that feels more like an obligation than a loving partnership. But here's the good news. Understanding why this happens is the first step toward changing the course of your relationship. If you recognize these patterns early, there's still time to rebuild the connection, rekindle intimacy, and create a more fulfilling bond with your partner. In today's video, we will explore 7 key reasons why women begin to feel resentment toward their husbands over time. More importantly, we'll talk about how to fix these issues before they lead to permanent emotional distance. Stay with me until the end because these insights could transform your marriage or help someone you care about. And if you're finding this discussion valuable, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Golden Years Balance for more wisdom on relationships, psychology, and aging well. Reason 1: emotional labor without appreciation. One of the most common reasons women grow resentful in long-term marriages is the unequal burden of emotional labor. Emotional labor is not just about cooking, cleaning, or managing schedules. It's about being the one who constantly thinks about everyone's well-being, maintaining relationships, and keeping the household running smoothly. In many marriages, women take on the invisible workload of remembering birthdays, organizing social gatherings, scheduling doctor's appointments, and ensuring that family members are emotionally supported. While these tasks may seem small on their own, they add up to an enormous amount of mental and emotional effort. When this work goes unrecognized, it can lead to frustration, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. Why it happens? Traditional gender roles. Many couples unconsciously fall into traditional roles where the wife is expected to manage the emotional and social aspects of family life, while the husband focuses on financial support. Even in modern relationships where both partners work, women often find themselves carrying the heavier emotional load. Invisible work goes unnoticed. Unlike physical chores that have visible results, such as a clean kitchen or folded laundry, emotional labor is intangible. Planning, organizing, and remembering important details often go unnoticed because they happen in the background. Lack of communication. Many women assume their partners should naturally understand how much effort they are putting in, while many men are unaware of the depth of emotional labor their wives carry. Without open communication, this imbalance can persist for years. Cultural and societal expectations. Society often expects women to be the caregivers, the ones who nurture relationships and maintain harmony. This conditioning makes it difficult for women to step back from these responsibilities or demand shared participation. How to fix it for husbands. Acknowledge the work. Emotional labor is real work. Recognizing the mental and emotional energy your wife invests in the family is crucial. A simple thank you for remembering to schedule the kids' dentist appointments or organizing family gatherings can make a big difference. Take initiative. Instead of waiting to be asked, actively take on some emotional responsibilities. Pay attention to important dates, check in on your partner's emotional well-being, and take ownership of family planning. Share the mental load. Instead of saying, "Let me know if you need help," take the initiative to share in the planning and organizing. For example, if your wife always arranges family trips, take charge of booking flights and accommodations. Listen and validate. If your wife expresses frustration, don't dismiss it or get defensive. Instead, listen, validate her feelings, and ask how you can support her better. For wives, communicate your needs clearly. Instead of assuming your husband should just know what needs to be done, express your feelings and needs directly. Use I statements such as, "I feel overwhelmed when I have to manage all the social and household responsibilities on my own." Set boundaries. If you are doing more than your fair share, set clear boundaries. Let go of the expectation that you must handle everything and allow your partner to step up. Delegate and let go of control. Many women hesitate to delegate because they fear tasks won't be done the right way. Trust your partner to take responsibility, even if it means doing things differently than you would. Encourage a team mentality. Frame the conversation as working together rather than blaming. Instead of saying, "You never help with anything," try, "I'd love for us to share these responsibilities so we both feel less stressed." When emotional labor is shared more equally, both partners benefit. Women feel more appreciated and less overwhelmed, leading to greater relationship satisfaction. Men become more emotionally connected to their families and experience a deeper sense of partnership. A well-balanced emotional workload strengthens marriages, fosters mutual respect, and creates a healthier home environment for everyone. By making small but intentional changes, couples can shift from a place of frustration and resentment to one of partnership and appreciation. Reason 2, feeling like a roommate instead of a wife. Many women wake up one day and realize that they feel more like a roommate than a romantic partner in their marriage. The excitement, passion, and deep emotional connection they once had have faded, leaving them in a relationship that feels more like cohabitation than companionship. Instead of feeling cherished and loved, they may feel like two people merely sharing responsibilities, managing household chores, raising children, and navigating daily routines without the intimacy that once defined their relationship. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It often occurs gradually as life's responsibilities take precedence over the romantic foundation of the marriage. Work stress, parenting duties, financial pressures, and the demands of daily life can leave little room for emotional connection. Over time, conversations become more about logistics than love, and moments of affection are replaced with practical exchanges about schedules and household tasks. When this dynamic sets in, loneliness can creep into the marriage even though both partners are physically present. A woman may begin to feel unseen, unheard, and emotionally disconnected, leading to frustration, sadness, or even resentment. If left unaddressed, this emotional distance can create a chasm between partners, making it difficult to find a way back to the closeness they once shared. How to fix it for husbands. Continue to date your wife. Just because you are married doesn't mean the courtship should end. Surprise her with small, thoughtful gestures, whether it's a handwritten note, a spontaneous date night, or a meaningful compliment. These little acts of love show that you still see her as your partner, not just your co-parent or roommate. Prioritize deep conversations. It's easy to get caught up in talking about logistics. Who is picking up the kids? What bills need to be paid? What groceries need to be bought? Make time to have meaningful conversations about feelings, dreams, and personal growth. Ask her about her day, her thoughts, and her emotions, and truly listen without distraction. Engage in shared activities. Reignite the bond by doing things together that bring joy. Whether it's cooking a new recipe, taking a weekend getaway, going for a walk, or learning something new as a couple, shared experiences help build emotional intimacy. For wives, express your feelings before resentment builds. Many women wait until they are deeply unhappy before speaking up, which can lead to resentment. Instead, communicate openly and honestly about your emotional needs. Let your husband know that you crave more connection, not in a blaming way, but in a way that invites him into the solution. Take the initiative to plan something new together. Instead of waiting for your husband to reignite the spark, take proactive steps. Plan a special date night, introduce new traditions, or find a hobby you can enjoy together. Sometimes change starts with a small effort that leads to something bigger. Reconnect with your own desires. Sometimes feeling like a roommate instead of a wife isn't just about the marriage, it's also about personal fulfillment. Rediscover your passions, take care of yourself emotionally and physically, and bring that renewed energy into your relationship. Marriage is a journey that requires continuous effort from both partners. Falling into a routine is normal, but staying stuck in one is a choice. If you feel like a roommate rather than a wife, it's a sign that your relationship needs nurturing. With intentional effort, open communication, and small, consistent acts of love, you and your partner can move beyond mere cohabitation and rekindle the deep connection that made you fall in love in the first place. Reason 3, unresolved conflicts that build over time. Every marriage experiences disagreements, and occasional conflicts are natural. However, the real issue arises when problems are not properly addressed and resolved. Many couples fall into the trap of avoiding difficult conversations, brushing concerns aside, or assuming that time alone will heal wounds. Unfortunately, unresolved conflicts don't simply vanish. They accumulate like layers of dust, growing heavier with time. When issues remain unspoken, they can turn into unexpressed frustrations, leading to emotional distance between partners. A small disagreement about household chores or financial decisions may seem insignificant at first, but when left unchecked, it can become a symbol of deeper issues: lack of appreciation, inequality in responsibilities, or even a feeling of being unheard. Over months or years, these small moments of frustration can turn into deep-seated resentment, making it harder for couples to communicate openly and lovingly. How unresolved conflicts affect marriage? Emotional distance. When partners repeatedly avoid discussing their concerns, they begin to feel disconnected. They may still live together, but they function more like roommates than a loving couple. Increased arguments. Small issues, when unresolved, build tension. This can lead to frequent fights over seemingly minor things because underlying emotions are not being addressed. Lack of trust and intimacy. Resentment can erode trust. If one partner feels unheard or invalidated, they may withdraw emotionally and physically, leading to a loss of intimacy. Silent treatment and passive aggression. Instead of addressing the real issue, one or both partners might resort to silence, sarcasm, or passive-aggressive behavior, further damaging the relationship. Breakdown in communication. When conflicts are consistently ignored, couples may stop communicating about important matters altogether, making problem-solving even harder in the future. How to fix it for husbands. Listen with an open mind. When your wife shares her concerns, resist the urge to be defensive. Instead of dismissing her feelings or trying to immediately fix the problem, acknowledge her emotions and validate her perspective. Show empathy. Put yourself in her shoes. If she is upset about something, try to understand why it matters to her, even if it doesn't seem like a big deal to you. Be proactive. Don't wait until things explode. If you sense tension or unresolved frustration, initiate a conversation to address it before it turns into a bigger issue. Take responsibility. If you've hurt her feelings or made a mistake, own up to it. A sincere apology can go a long way in rebuilding trust. For wives, express concerns early. Don't let resentment build over time. If something bothers you, communicate it directly and calmly rather than holding it in and letting it fester. Use I statements. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try saying, "I feel unheard" when we don't discuss important things. This reduces defensiveness and promotes understanding. Choose the right time. Avoid bringing up serious issues during moments of stress or anger. Instead, find a quiet time when both of you are calm and can focus on the conversation. Encourage solutions, not blame. Instead of blaming your husband for past mistakes, focus on what can be done moving forward to improve communication and prevent future issues. Conflict is inevitable in any marriage, but how couples handle those conflicts determines the strength of their relationship. The key is to address issues early, communicate with love and respect, and be willing to listen and compromise. A marriage built on open and honest communication can withstand challenges, while one weighed down by unresolved conflicts will eventually crumble under the pressure. Reason 4, a shift in priorities that leaves her feeling unfulfilled. Life is a journey of change, and as women age, their priorities, dreams, and sources of fulfillment evolve. In earlier years, many women find deep satisfaction in raising children, managing a household, and supporting their family's needs. Their identity is often intertwined with these responsibilities, providing a strong sense of purpose. However, as children grow up and gain independence and household responsibilities become more routine, many women begin to seek new avenues of fulfillment. For some, this transition sparks a desire for personal growth, exploring hobbies, diving into career aspirations, engaging in spiritual or intellectual pursuits, or traveling to new places. Others may seek deeper emotional connections, meaningful volunteer work, or a renewed focus on self-care and well-being. These evolving priorities are a natural and healthy part of personal development. However, if a woman's husband remains stagnant, holding on to old routines, resisting change, or failing to engage in her newfound passions, a painful disconnect can develop. This disconnect often leads to feelings of loneliness, dissatisfaction, and even resentment. A wife may feel unheard, unseen, or unsupported in her personal evolution. She may long for her husband to grow alongside her, to show curiosity about her new interests, and to engage in meaningful conversations that reflect a shared journey of transformation. If her husband, on the other hand, is content with life as it is and unwilling to embrace change, she may feel trapped in a relationship that no longer nurtures her soul. How to fix it? For husbands, be open to change and growth. Marriage is not a static institution. It is a living, breathing partnership that requires constant adaptation. If you notice your wife becoming less fulfilled by past routines, don't ignore it, engage with it. Listen with curiosity. Ask her about her new interests, goals, and aspirations. Show genuine enthusiasm and validate her experiences. Support her growth. Even if her new passions don't align with your own, encourage her to pursue them. A happy, fulfilled wife creates a more vibrant and loving partnership. Find shared experiences. While you may not share all her new interests, look for activities that you can enjoy together. Whether it's traveling, learning something new, or volunteering, shared experiences help bridge emotional gaps. Be willing to evolve. Personal growth is a lifelong journey. Challenge yourself to embrace change rather than resist it. A marriage where both partners continuously grow is one that remains strong and fulfilling. For wives, communicate your needs and encourage mutual growth. Rather than silently feeling unfulfilled, take an active role in reshaping your marriage to accommodate your evolving self. Express your desires openly. Instead of expecting your husband to read your mind, communicate what you need from the relationship in a way that fosters understanding. Encourage him to grow alongside you. If he seems resistant to change, find gentle ways to involve him in new experiences. Invite him to try something different with you, without pressuring him. Acknowledge his fears. Change can be unsettling. If your husband hesitates to step out of his comfort zone, reassure him that growth can be exciting rather than intimidating. Prioritize your own fulfillment. While it's important to nurture your marriage, don't wait for your husband's participation to pursue your own passions. Your happiness is your responsibility. A fulfilling marriage is one where both partners evolve, adapt, and support each other's growth. When husbands and wives embrace change together, they deepen their emotional connection and create a relationship that remains meaningful and enriching at every stage of life. Reason 5, a lack of emotional and physical affection in marriage. Understanding the impact and how to fix it. Over time, many couples experience a decline in emotional and physical affection. What starts as a passionate and loving relationship can gradually transform into a routine where affection becomes rare or even non-existent. This emotional neglect can be just as painful as physical distance, leading to feelings of loneliness, resentment, and even questioning the stability of the relationship. Why does affection fade? Several factors contribute to the decline of affection in a marriage. Busy schedules and responsibilities, work, children, household duties, and other commitments often take precedence over intimate connection. As a result, couples may not have the energy or time to nurture their bond. Unresolved conflicts. Lingering arguments and unresolved issues can create emotional walls, making it difficult for partners to express affection naturally. Taking each other for granted. After years together, some couples assume their partner just knows they are loved, reducing the need for daily affectionate gestures. Lack of communication. Partners may not openly discuss their emotional and physical needs, leading to misunderstandings and unmet expectations. Physical and mental health issues. Stress, anxiety, depression, or medical conditions can diminish a person's desire or ability to express affection. Regardless of the reasons, a lack of affection can be deeply damaging. Humans crave touch, appreciation, and connection, and when those needs go unmet, partners may feel unloved, undesired, or disconnected. How to fix it for husbands. Never stop showing affection. Many men mistakenly believe that once they have won their wife's heart, grand gestures of love are no longer necessary. However, love must be nurtured daily. Here are a few ways husbands can maintain affection in their marriage. Small physical gestures matter. Holding hands, hugging, or a gentle touch on the shoulder can provide reassurance and strengthen emotional bonds. Express verbal appreciation. Complimenting your wife on her appearance, efforts, or personality traits can make her feel valued. Plan quality time together. Surprise her with a date night, a walk in the park, or simply sitting together without distractions to talk about life. Check in emotionally. Ask how she's feeling, listen attentively, and show genuine concern for her well-being. Surprise her with thoughtful acts, a handwritten note, a morning coffee, or remembering small details about what she loves can go a long way. Even small efforts, when consistent, can rekindle affection and keep a marriage emotionally fulfilling. For wives, communicate your needs clearly. Many women feel hurt when their husbands stop showing affection, but instead of expressing their needs, they expect their partner to just know what they want. This assumption can lead to frustration and disappointment. Here's how wives can encourage affection in a healthy way. Speak up about your needs. Instead of assuming he knows, gently express what makes you feel loved and appreciated. Use I statements such as, "I feel happy when you hold my hand," rather than blaming. Recognize his love language. Your husband may express love differently than you do. If he shows love through acts of service rather than physical touch, acknowledge and appreciate it while also sharing what you need. Initiate affection too. Affection shouldn't be one-sided. Surprise him with a hug, a kind word, or a simple thank you for what he does. Encourage positive behavior. When he does something affectionate, show gratitude and reinforce the behavior so he knows it's meaningful to you. Create opportunities for connection. If your schedules are hectic, intentionally set aside time to be together, free from distractions. By communicating needs openly and expressing affection mutually, both partners can restore emotional closeness and prevent distance from growing. A marriage without affection can feel cold and disconnected, but the good news is that small, consistent efforts can reignite the warmth and love that once defined the relationship. By being mindful of each other's emotional needs, practicing daily acts of affection, and keeping communication open, couples can maintain a strong and fulfilling connection for years to come. Reason 6, feeling unappreciated after decades of giving marriage is a long journey of love, sacrifice, and mutual support. However, over the years, it's easy for gratitude to fade into the background, replaced by routine, expectations, and unspoken resentment. Many long-term couples reach a point where one or both partners feel unappreciated, despite having dedicated years, sometimes decades, of love, care, and effort to the relationship. The slow erosion of gratitude can lead to emotional distance, frustration, and even bitterness if left unaddressed. Why does appreciation fade over time? In the early years of marriage, expressions of gratitude and appreciation come naturally. Small gestures, words of affirmation, and thoughtful acts are common. However, as life gets busier with careers, children, and responsibilities, couples often fall into patterns of taking each other for granted. What once felt special and meaningful may now be expected and unnoticed. Additionally, societal and generational influences play a role. In many traditional marriages, husbands were the primary earners, while wives managed the household and children. Over time, wives may feel undervalued for their contributions, while husbands may feel that their hard work is unrecognized. Both partners might silently carry their own disappointments, leading to an emotional disconnect. Feeling unappreciated can have profound emotional and psychological effects. For the partner who feels unseen, it can lead to feelings of loneliness, sadness, and frustration. They may begin to wonder if their sacrifices were worth it, or if they are simply fulfilling a role rather than being valued as an individual. For some, this leads to resentment. Small grievances build up over time until they become major sources of conflict. Others may withdraw emotionally, engaging less with their partner, or even seeking appreciation elsewhere. The absence of gratitude can make a person feel invisible in their own marriage, which can be deeply painful. How to fix it? For husbands, express gratitude regularly. A simple thank you can go a long way. Acknowledge the little things your wife does, whether it's preparing meals, managing the household, or supporting you emotionally. Make appreciation a habit. Instead of waiting for a special occasion, make it a daily practice to recognize and appreciate your wife's contributions. Compliments, love notes, or even a heartfelt text can make a difference. Show through actions. Words are important, but actions reinforce appreciation. Help out more at home, plan a surprise date, or take time to listen and engage in meaningful conversations. Revisit the past together. Reminisce about the early days of your relationship. Looking back at shared memories can rekindle appreciation for how far you've come together. For wives, speak up about your feelings. If you feel unseen, don't wait for your husband to notice. Men are not always aware of emotional subtleties, so it's important to communicate openly about your need for appreciation. Acknowledge his efforts too. Gratitude is a two-way street. While you may feel underappreciated, he might feel the same way. Expressing appreciation for what he does can encourage mutual gratitude. Set boundaries. If you feel like you're doing too much without recognition, set boundaries. It's okay to delegate responsibilities and expect a fairer division of labor. Encourage positive change. Instead of blaming or criticizing, invite your husband to engage in more acts of appreciation. For example, you can say, "I really love when you notice the things I do. It makes me feel valued." A marriage without appreciation can feel lonely, even when both partners are physically present. Gratitude is a powerful tool that can heal wounds, strengthen bonds, and bring joy back into the relationship. It's never too late to start appreciating each other again. One kind word, one thoughtful act, and one moment of recognition at a time. Reason 7. Realizing that they've grown apart. There comes a time in some relationships when one or both partners wake up and realize that the person they are sharing their life with has become a stranger. It is not always a sudden realization, but rather the culmination of years of subtle changes, unspoken words, and diverging paths. The emotional connection that once made them inseparable now feels like a distant memory. The warmth of shared laughter, the depth of meaningful conversations, and the excitement of mutual dreams have slowly faded, replaced by silence, routine, or even resentment. For many couples, growing apart happens so gradually that they hardly notice it until the gap between them feels too wide to bridge. In the early days, they might have spent hours talking, sharing dreams, and supporting each other's aspirations. But as time goes on, priorities shift. Careers take precedence, children demand attention, and personal interests evolve. What once felt like a partnership starts to feel like two individuals living parallel lives under the same roof. One of the most telling signs of emotional distance is the lack of meaningful communication. Conversations that once flowed effortlessly now feel forced, limited to discussions about schedules, responsibilities, or surface-level topics. There is no longer a desire to share thoughts, fears, or aspirations. When a couple stops confiding in each other, stops asking how the other is truly feeling, or stops caring about each other's dreams, a disconnect begins to form. When two people enter a relationship, they often have shared goals, whether it's building a family, traveling the world, or creating a life based on shared values. However, as people grow and change, their dreams and priorities may shift. Perhaps one partner becomes deeply invested in their career, while the other longs for a quieter, family-focused life. Maybe one person undergoes a personal transformation, finding new interests, adopting new beliefs, or redefining their identity, while the other remains the same. Even if a couple still lives together and fulfills their roles as partners, the absence of emotional intimacy can make the relationship feel empty. Physical presence does not always equate to emotional closeness. Some couples find themselves going through the motions, eating dinner together, sleeping in the same bed, but without any real connection. Small gestures of affection like holding hands, saying "I love you" with sincerity, or offering comfort in difficult times start to disappear. The moment of realization often comes unexpectedly. It may be triggered by an argument that highlights how little they understand each other anymore, or by a quiet evening where the silence feels louder than words. Sometimes it happens when one partner experiences something significant, personal success, loss, or change, and realizes that their spouse is no longer the person they once turned to for support. What comes next? Once a couple acknowledges that they have grown apart, they must decide what to do with that knowledge. Some choose to work on their relationship, reigniting the spark through counseling, open conversations, and renewed efforts to reconnect. Others come to terms with the fact that they are no longer compatible and that separating may be the healthiest choice for both. Regardless of the path they take, realizing they have grown apart is not necessarily a failure. It is a recognition of reality. It is an opportunity to reflect, grow, and make decisions that honor both partners' happiness, whether that means finding a way back to each other or choosing to walk separate paths. If you recognize yourself in these patterns, know that change is not only possible, but also within your reach. Resentment and emotional distance don't develop overnight, and healing takes time, patience, and intentional effort. The key is to nurture open communication, actively listen to each other's concerns, and make a conscious effort to bridge any emotional gaps. Relationships evolve and challenges are inevitable, but with awareness and dedication, you can restore connection and deepen your bond. One of the most powerful things you can do is acknowledge each other's needs. This means expressing your feelings honestly while also being receptive to your partner's perspective. Small acts of kindness, thoughtful gestures, and meaningful conversations can slowly rebuild trust and closeness. Remember, no relationship is perfect, but the willingness to grow together makes all the difference. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you noticed these shifts in your relationship? How have you navigated moments of distance or frustration? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your story might help someone else on their journey. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insights from Golden Years Balance.